No, he might come. I call to order the June 3rd, 2024 meeting of the Leechburg Area School Board. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Roll call, please. Here.
Mrs. Knight? Here. Mr. Lovett? Here. Mr. Lovett? Here. Mr. Baskin?
Here.
Mr. Paulus?
Here.
Ms. Cooper? Here. Mr. Talbot?
Here.
An executive session was held on June 3rd, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. to discuss personnel matters. Public comments. We have one agenda item comment. Mr. Pascal.
Thank you. So I read the article in the Trib today where Dr. Keebler indicates that in the budget that is on the agenda tonight, it's the board's intention to attempt to do a rebate of some sort to the West Leechburg residents for the increase in their taxes, the homeowners for an increase in their taxes. Now, I get it, right? I get it. Nobody likes what the STEB effect is. The STEB formula is there to make the taxation system constitutional because of the difference in the assessments between Westmoreland County and Armstrong County. And I understand that you all made a political promise to the people of West Leechburg, some of you. And I understand that this is an effort to turn down the heat, which apparently you did because, as you can see, nobody's here. But you cannot rebate taxes to a portion of this school district. It's unconstitutional. It's a violation of the uniformity clause. Every solution that has been advocated in this article, whether it is the legislature giving you permission to violate the Constitution or this rebate scheme, are not permitted under the law. The legislature cannot give you permission to violate the Constitution. There are other solutions that are constitutional, and I'm more than willing to, and I have been advocating for those and trying to get those considered and discussed in the legislature. That one doesn't work, and this rebate scheme, I give you credit for creativity, but it's unconstitutional. And where that money comes from, of course, is the taxpayers of the Armstrong side of the district. And that is unfair. And that's why the Constitution requires uniformity. Now, you all took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of this Commonwealth. The uniformity clause requires uniform taxation. And these backdoor schemes and trying to get around that will not work, will be challenged. And in addition to that, you know, I always support lawyers making more money. And this would make Gary some more money, okay? As he has to defend this. But I would prefer, and I think the people of the district would prefer, that you use the money that you're trying to refund to West Leechburg you use the money that you will have to pay Mr. Matta to not cut the math specialist position that you've cut. You had a plea in here from the elementary teachers several months ago telling you the value of that position. The amount you're attempting to rebate is about the same amount that would cost. I would ask that you do what's right for children and not for political pandering and performative nonsense. Work with us, find a solution. They exist. We can get this done. But there's no reason to violate the law and violate the Constitution to make a political message.
Can I ask a question? Mr. Pascal, can I ask you a question? You said you've done some research on this yourself.
Always.
Can you potentially give us a solution that you've seen that maybe we have not seen or that we've overlooked or something else?
Well, I don't know that it's not one that we've seen. It's one that we can advocate for. The problem is that the Westmoreland assessments are so inaccurate that they are causing this. That's the problem. We need to unify the assessments in some fashion. Many of the solutions, the best solutions are not going to happen politically, right? The absolute best solution is that assessments become a state function as opposed to a county function. The state does it by the same basis in every county and does a regular reassessment every 5 to 10 years. That's the best solution. The next best solution is that the legislature mandates that the counties do a reassessment every X number of years. That's probably not going to happen. The third solution, which hasn't been talked about a lot, but is the solution here, is to permit the school board to opt to have the dominant county, in this case Armstrong, do assessments in the Westmoreland side for school tax purposes only. They would still be assessed, the Westmoreland assessment would still be the case for their borough taxes and their county taxes. And that there would be some funding to do that from somewhere. And that once those assessments were done, in other words, then they would be done on the same basis. And there would be no need to equalize because the Armstrong County would be assessing West Leechburg for school tax purposes only. That is a palatable solution that school districts could opt into. And like for example here, and then in Freeport, Butler County would assess South Buffalo and the borough of Freeport because they're the dominant district there. Here, Armstrong County would assess West Leechburg for school tax purposes only. That's the solution that can work and the most equitable solution.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Pascal, you said that we're placing a burden on the Armstrong County taxpayers. Just to be clear, Ms. Ettinger shared in multiple prior presentations, my understanding is that the Armstrong median tax is going to reduce by about $80. Is that still accurate? Okay, so there's no increase to anybody in Armstrong County as a result of our proposed budget.
No, my point is that money has to come from somewhere. And if you're only rebating to the people of Westmoreland, it is a subsidy from the people of Armstrong to the people of Westmoreland. That's my point, regardless of the amount. It's
Thank
not.
you.
I'm not saying you're increasing hours, right? And by the way, if you're also sending the message by attempting to rebate that you don't need the money. So if you don't need the money, just reduce the tax rate for everybody.
Can you explain to Mr. Pascal a little bit how the stub rebalancing works, that we can't unilaterally reduce the tax rate and have that just reduce like a flat rate?
No, I know that. You can reduce it for everyone. You can reduce the millage rate in both counties if you don't need that money, which you're signaling you don't. because you're proposing giving it away,
So,
giving it back.
so it doesn't reduce equally.
We're aware. You would have to reduce it equally. I mean, you would have to reduce it by the step formula down to the amount that you would to get West Leechburg to zero. I know you don't want to do that because that's several $100,000. But what I'm indicating is that you're doing one of two things here. By rebating that money to West Leechburg, whatever that number is, it said 66 in here, but I don't know if that's accurate. If that's accurate, then you are indicating that you're overtaxing the district as a whole by at least that number, or you are cutting something to make up that number. And we know what you're cutting. You're cutting the math specialist and you're cutting other things, but you're cutting that. So the point is that you either don't need the money because we're not going to provide that service to children, or, those are the two choices. Either reduce taxes on everyone and say we're not going to service children, or you're proposing an unconstitutional solution for political whatever. I understand. We all feel what's going on is not correct and fair. Most of us understand that there's not a legal constitutional solution to it right now. This doesn't work. Don't do it. Don't cause this district to spend money to defend something that you know you're going to lose, because you will.
I'd like to have an executive session after the meeting.
Thank you. Anything else? Dr. Coudray? Anything else? Thank you.
Administrative reports. Mr. Rogers is not here. No. Okay. 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 Yeah, you can go. Go ahead. And then we'll do Mr. Komar second. Thanks.
Good evening, and I'll be very brief. It's 3 days since the last day of school, and the collection of devices has gone really, really well, best in my 3 years here. We have a few that are outstanding. I'm pretty sure it's an oversight. We're going to find them, but we're talking less than 4% of our inventory. So it's been great this year. We did a lot of communications on that. And we were able to get some debt paid for student damages right up to the last day of school. In 2 days, we got 18 transactions for $1,800, which is great. The 2023, that's all I have about device collection. We did receive the intrusion detection device that we applied to a grant in 2023. It finally arrived last week, so we're working on getting that. That's going to greatly increase our security and our data security. It will actually monitor traffic coming in, which is something we don't have the ability to do right now. And finally, we're looking at different solutions for staff attendance, recording staff attendance, and also student attendance. Our Raptor system, which is our visitor badge system, will integrate with PowerSchool. So I've worked with Ms. Moore on that. And basically this summer is going to be about updating our data, making sure it's correct, and also extending what we do in our student information system. There are many more parts of the system that we're not using right now, and we want to integrate those and possibly close some gaps on some technology and save some money. Does anybody have any questions about IT? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Komar, special ed updates on there. He's going to continue with secondary students and staff members of the month, but he's also going to add elementary for the upcoming school year. So we'll start that in September and be ready to go. The MTSS leadership team is meeting on June 14th to discuss the program and revamp to take it to the next level on that. I think we had a lot of pieces in, but we want to make sure that we're making it as easy as possible to work with staff and understand where the needs are of our students. The gifted program, we met with our two new gifted coordinators, Mr. Southern at the high school and Mr. McKee at the elementary, and really planned what that will look like moving forward. The district received a $3,000 grant through a partnership with Chatham University, hosting capstone doctoral student. And that's his special ed update on there. Any questions I can help answer or ask? Thank you.
Is Adam,
Adam's gonna come to the next meeting. We did put in the new dishwasher today. It got in, we're having some issues. The drain is pretty bad, so we're working to get that replaced, but that was all done. They ripped it out, have the electric run, have everything done with that, so we're hopeful that'll be up in the next couple of days with that. But Adam wanted to wait till the end of the month, he has some other things going to update on that. With that, and I will add with him and on myself, we did get a notice from West Leechburg about the grass up there. I will apologize to West Leechburg on there. We had graduation, a couple people off, and it rained every other day for the last 2 weeks. But it was cut, started last Friday and finished up today on there. Hopefully the weather allows us in there. I just wish West Leechburg, I plan to go to their council meeting this month. I wish they would have reached out to me and let me know versus sending us a notice in the mail. But I'll work to mend those relationships so that they let us know a little bit more if there's any issues up there.
Ms. Ettinger?
I have no idea what is happening. I'll just go through what we have. Can you guys hear me? I don't know what's happening. What we have on the agenda first, and then I'll just give you the final, what we have up through now for final budget updates. So next meeting, you'll be approving your final budget, obviously, the tax levy resolution that goes along with that, and the homestead farmstead resolution. We have a Amerikey agreement for 24-25 to be approved, and then CAP, which is family counseling, and Amerikey, we feed them through our food service program, so we have a participation agreement that we do every year with them, so those are on there to be approved for 24-25. Our summer feeding program is on there to be approved. The access program for 24-25, there's actually two things on there, and then there's a max capture data entry agreement that is so our providers can electronically upload their items. 7.10 is our flexible spending account. We currently do not have that. We only have a dependent care, so we have to reinstate that. So that's on there. Your insurance broker of records on there. The Chatham University independent contractor agreement is, Mr. Comar knows more about this, but I think we had a intern and they paid us they're going to pay us for that. So very gracious. They got a grant and we were one of the schools. I put the electric service agreement back on our agenda because we really have to make a decision moving forward on the rates are continuing to climb. So we really should consider locking in at least even for 12 months of a rate now, starting in December, because our current contract ends in December. The information technology agreement, you'll be approving that. You're approving tonight the public school facility improvement grant program resolutions, your budget transfers, and then your financial reports are on there. And then just for your final budget so far, what we have, there's been no changes in revenue since the last time. So, but the contingencies are the same. We have had expenditure changes. So our healthcare rate was projected in January. They voted not to increase it over 13.19%. When I went in April or May, I think it was, our consortium is facing a deficit, basically, because our claims have been really high since COVID. So they were going to not have enough money to pay our bills in the consortium through May and June. So they took the increase off the table and increased it another 5%. So our rate went to 18.19%, which was an additional increase for us of about $50,000 in our health care. Yeah. I also adjusted for the tax rebate program. I updated for staff new hires, salary and benefits, and all the things that have happened since then. Some possible final changes prior to your final budget that are not in the budget that you see in board docs right now are the information technology contract, depending on what you go with, that could possibly change. We haven't got our insurance pricing yet, so that's probably going to be a change. And then the transportation cost and the elimination of a bus route will probably change the budget. So this is really hard to get on there, and I apologize. This is what your final RETR report looks like. What that means is your final millage rates. As you can see at the top, I took the report and I couldn't fit the report on the screen, so I kind of did it in a table. So again, the tax revenue has not increased. It's still $5,075,000. We have not asked for an increase. Our homestead did increase about a little over 113,000. So we're going to get 678,287. So our total tax levy, and you can go down, you can see most of these numbers stayed the same. So our real estate millage in Armstrong County for 24-25 will be 68.48 mils, and in Westmoreland County it'll be 158.61 mils. I'm sorry, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying, okay. I can move that. You want me to move it? So just to let you know, that 68.48 is a decrease of 2.92% in Armstrong, or 2.06 mils, and it's an increase of 10.41% in Westmoreland, or 14.96 mils. And then we go ahead and increases. That homestead number at the top resulted in an increase in the homestead farmstead rebate for anyone who's on that of an additional $70. That's the second increase in 2 years as well. It was $80 last year. It's an additional $70 this year because they keep increasing our money, our amount. So overall, revenue, like I said, stayed the same, 15.878,672. That didn't change from the last time. Expenditures, bottom line, it was a slight decrease from your proposed of $12,000. So your expenditures are now at $16,463, which makes your final projected loss at year end $585,000. And then if you don't use your contingencies, you're looking at about $435. And then I always like to let you know what your fund balance looks like, updated with the 435, the projected loss at the end of 23-24, that 908. I'm hopeful, I'm very hopeful at this point. I keep running the numbers that it looks like, and I probably don't even want to say it out loud, but it looks like we're going to be $1 million to the good, roughly, or slightly less, but I don't think we're going to have a deficit at the end of this year. So that's what we projected though. So I wanted to just leave that in there because that is what was projected in our budget. So, and then with that projected loss for next year at the end of 25, we're looking at a little over $4 million in your fund balance. Hopefully, like I said, I think you're going to be putting money into your fund balance at the end of this year. Does anybody have any questions on this? And I won't give a presentation next meeting, but I'll let you know what the changes were, for the final.
Can you go back to the second slide, please?
Sure.
I think it's the second slide.
Second slide. This one?
Third slide, sorry.
This one?
Yeah, correct. The fourth line down at the top, it says collection rate 94.19%. I know this is off the top of your head. Do you know what the collection rate for Armstrong and Westmoreland County is?
break down.
Okay, I just didn't see that part then.
Yeah, that's okay. So it takes an average, so, this is Armstrong County together, Gilbert and Leechburg's at 93.5%, and then West Leechburg's at 96%. So it comes out to be that 94.19, which you see at the top. It kind of does, goes together.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Any other questions? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sure.
Is Ms. Mondale? Meeting minutes? Can we move on to the meeting minutes? Okay. A motion is needed to approve the meeting minutes for the month of May 2024 as submitted.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The following items are personnel discussion items, and this is for employee number 790 FMLA leave request. Item 6.2, athletic supplementals. Any questions on that? Discussion? The resignation of employee number 867. Any discussion? Tenure recognition for Ms. Alanka. The 24-25 science department head, we're rescinding this. Any discussion on that? We're going to be hiring a 24-25 science department head. I don't know if your numbers are the same as me. 6.7 paraprofessional new hire. Yes. Any discussion on that? Item 6.8, the 24-25 game day workers. Any discussion or questions? Any discussion or questions on item 7.1, the 24-25 general fund final budget?
Thank you, Teresa, for your work on that final budget.
The 24-25 tax levy resolution. Any discussion or questions on that? The 24-25 homestead farmstead resolution. We'll be looking at, this is discussion, the 24-25 Marikey agreement. Any questions on that?
And I'll update the board. I plan to meet with Marikey prior to approving that, just to have that discussion with the nurse, since our nurse covers that building. But before we vote on that, I'll get those details.
24-25 family counseling CAP participation agreement.
Dr. Cooper, is that the one that involves Kendall and the?
Yeah, I had a conversation with, I'm trying to think Carrie's last name, Patterson may be up there today. The plan, we had a conversation, since we are getting a full-time social worker, they will be helping it. Ms. Mattis will not be filling those out anymore. But my concern still goes back to, is the social worker the appropriate part? If there's time in the schedule that she can do that, that would be fine, but I don't want to lose other stuff that should be done when they're not doing it. And as I shared in the past with that, we've had opportunities that they're telling families there's a 6-month wait to get it up there, just apply at the school, and we'll do the paperwork and get them in. So I don't want to not get the kids their services they need, but they need to help us out on that, on what they're doing. So we did have a discussion on that. We have a new social worker. When we meet with that, we'll put a plan together for what that was, but Ms. Mattis will not be doing it. And it was different at the elementary and the high school, because you can send the paperwork home. At the high school, the kids get it filled out and get it brought back. It's just the younger kids are not getting it to their parents and getting it filled back, so we were filling it out.
Thank you.
The 24-25 Marikey participation agreement. I think that's just a different agreement. One's the participation, one's the actual agreement. Is that correct? Okay. Okay. The 2024 summer feeding program, the 24-25 PA school-based access program agreement. Any questions on that? Item 7.9, the PA SBAP max capture data entry agreement. Any questions on that? Item 7.10, the flexible spending account reinstatement. 7.11, the insurance broker of record. Any questions on that?
I can just update, we're going to stay with Rossini for the next year as it goes through. We're not going to issue a broker record. They already started our numbers, so we will stay with them for the next year.
Item 7.12, the Chatham University Independent Contractor Agreements. Item 7.13, the Electric Service Agreement. Questions on that? Item
I'll give us a recommendation on that as well.
Item 7.14, the Information Technology Agreement. Item 7.15, the Public School Facility Improvement Grant Program Resolution. Item 7.16, Budget Transfers. Item 7.17, the Financial Reports will be approved. Any discussion, questions on that? Dr. Keebler?
Go ahead.
So the item 713, do you recommend that we would put that up to vote now, or can we wait till the end of the month? Does that time constraint make a difference?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
He's gonna get, the rates change every week,
right.
so he's gonna get us updated rates right before our next meeting, and then we can, present them to you.
Okay, you seem to feel pretty strongly on it whenever you were speaking on it, so that's why I wanted to make sure it wasn't on that type of time constraint. Okay, thank you.
Dr. Keebler?
Just want to congratulate our graduates for graduation last week. Great ceremony. Teachers, everybody did a great job with that. Update on last week, we submitted our school facility update grant that was through DCED. Our grant request was in the amount of $4,625,410, which we're asking the state for $3,469,000. With us matching the 1.156 million, which would give us new roofs. There's 4 roofs that would be replaced. Every other roof of our 19 roofs would be resurfaced with a 30-year warranty. We would then add solar panels to all of our roofs that they fit on there. The other part of that would be all new windows in the building that were not updated in the 2017 update. New boilers in the classroom section, which are downstairs in this building, as well as updating of the HVAC system. In our 2017 renovations, they did some of the updates, but it was never connected, never finished up. So we still have the radiant ceiling heaters going in through the school in here. This would update all of that. So it's a political piece on that. I'm reaching out to all of our legislators to try to get support with that, and very hopeful. It's obviously a game changer if we would be selected and be awarded the money for that. As I spoke last month on that, we will have some plans in place that we're going to have to address if we don't get that. But I think as we look forward, we will be able to go. And when we did send the money that we do have money committed and set aside that would match that number we need in our contingency funds to be able to do those if we were awarded. Other parts of that, we have June here. I'm going to finalize our strategic plan and our comp plan to submit to the state. The goal is by the end of July to have the strategic plan written, and then we're going to put it into a publication piece. I'll share that in August as we go through, but we want something for the start of the year that's in maybe an 8 to 10 page booklet that we can share with the community of what we're looking at over the next 4 to 5 years as we go through that. Federal programs, the building plan and Title 1, 2, and 4 will be submitted this month as well, so we can get everything up to date and ready for the next school year. Any questions on anything else going on right now?
Item 9.1, bus schedule changes. 9.2, bus drivers, bus substitutes updated list. Item 9.3 is the superintendent's evaluation. 9.4 is the 24-25 school board treasurer. 9.5, the second reading of policy 300, hire the best. 9.6, the second reading of policy 303, employment of family members. Any discussion on those 2 policies? 9.7, board secretary. We'll be appointing a new board secretary for July 1st. action items for budget and finance. A motion is needed to approve the official resolution for the public school facility improvement grant program as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you, Dr. Keeble. Yes, hopefully it is, yes.
All,
And I will add, just, and I apologize, part of it went with the age of the school. A lot of my documentation, the high school was built in 1922, elementary 1955, the renovation 95, 2017. So I am hoping that part of that goes into effect. I know that the structure of the beginning is definitely the oldest building in our state. So we push that in a lot, and hopefully they will notice that.
And Dr. Keyword, is that an all or nothing type grant? I mean, could we get a partial on that
They didn't have
possibly?
the details on that part of it,
Okay.
so I don't know. They may come back and say, hey, here's part of it. Each line item for what we asked for was budgeted.
Okay.
The roof had a separate budget item, the boiler, the HVAC, and the windows, but they may come through that. Now, the priorities of it, which was pretty interesting.
Now, did you set the priorities or, I mean, did we set it or did?
Application process.
Okay.
The roofing was first, HVAC, boilers, and then they had some energy savings, and it was down to number 11 for windows.
Okay.
I don't know, they may bump that out and give us some of the others, I'm not sure. It's gonna come down to how many applications come into the state and how much money we want.
Okay.
And I'll keep everybody updated as I hear everything back.
Thank you very much.
any other questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No public comment on any non-agenda items this evening, Ms. Ettinger? There's no. Our next meeting will be in the Leechburg High School Library on June 26, 2024 at 7 p.m. We need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:48.
Go into executive session, go to your-
We just need to announce it after.